Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the ongoing series of webinars we do here at SOS for partners and prospective partners of the company. We're starting the webinar now. Thanks for your patience. We've just had a lot of people arriving. We've got more than 100 people coming to today's webinar, so they're still coming in, but we need to get started in the interest of time. In terms of the agenda I beg your pardon, I'm Ken Shaw. I'm the CEO of the company. I'm joined here today by Lynn Weber, one of our partner specialists. And today, per the agenda on screen, what we're going to be covering today is we're going to be looking at who partners with SOS and why, and how does SOS enable partners and VARs and MSPs and IT service providers to get into the online backup industry or the cloud backup industry and make money in it. So we're going to take a brief overview of SOS's company history, who we are. We'll then turn to look at a general overview of the backup and disaster recovery industry, which is an industry that's been experiencing a lot of change in particularly the last 5 years. We'll then turn to a brief analysis of the traditional backup and DR solutions that have been incumbent in the market and that many of the people attending today probably sell. And then we'll look at the SOS partner model. So how can you as a VAR or an MSP or an IT service provider partner with SOS to on-sell SOS's technology under your brand to your customers? Just got a comment here that perhaps the volume mightn't be loud enough. If anybody can give us feedback as to whether or not that's been corrected, that would be wonderful. So one of the things we've learned with these webinars, we've been doing them now for quite a long time, is that the most powerful part of the sessions and the bit that everybody gets the most out of, both the company and the participants, is the Q&A that we have. And we usually run the question and answer session at the end of the webinar. Today we'd like to do something a little bit different because we've got such a good crowd. And what we'd really like to get people to do is to use the questions feature of the GoToWebinar software, which many of you have already used because I can see a lot of posts here, to actually ask questions throughout the presentation. So we want to do our best to simulate an interactive seminar today, and we want to answer your questions throughout the presentation as you ask them in relation to the slide in question. So waiting until the end, it's great too. We're still going to do a Q&A section at the end of the presentation, but if you ask your questions throughout the presentation, I'll do my very best to answer them on the fly, next to the content that you asked them about, if that makes sense. The other thing is, of course, that today we're giving away an iPad to one of the participants from the webinar, and you'll have to stick around to the very end of the webinar to find out how to find out if you've actually won that. So stick around to the end if you want to be in the running for that iPad. All right. Without further ado, we'll dive in. So in terms of just who we are, the 10,000-foot view. SOS Online Backup, as the name kind of connotes, is a company that's always been focused purely on online backup. It's what we do. Specifically, we focus on selling online backup through VARs and MSPs and resellers into the market to serve the small business segment of the market. So we don't really focus on consumer or enterprise. Small business is our real power sector. We've got some solutions for both consumers and for enterprises, and we've certainly got lots of customers in those categories, but small business is really our wheelhouse. We focus on being a best-of-breed technology company. We've always branded ourselves as the technology leader in the space, and that is borne out and reaffirmed by a lot of the trade press that we get. We've been PC Magazine Editor's Choice Award winner for the last 4 years running. Just a few weeks ago, PC Magazine again reaffirmed that we're still their Editor's Choice preferred solution in the market when they did a write-up on the new Mozy 2.0 product. So generally, we've got excellent technology. And then this next bullet point, what we focus on doing is providing online backup as a platform. So it's quite unique, and none of our competitors focus on this. And the goal here is for us to bring online backup solutions to market for our partners, through our partners. So more than 80% of our revenue actually comes through our channel. We've actually got nearly 1,000 partners worldwide. More than 300 of them are fully white-labeled solutions. So what I mean by that is it's completely branded. The software, the product, the marketing, the messaging, the billing, everything is completely branded to our partner. We're a global company. We operate out of 4 countries around the world. We've got actually more than 200 employees now. So we're quite a large firm. Great depth of resources that we aim to bring to bear to help you in your business get into the online backup market and succeed. we've got, and then in terms of just the scalability of our network and our grid, we've got more 2.8 million customer accounts and nearly 10 million PCs on our backup grid. So by any indicator, we're a very large online backup firm. And at this next point, the fact that we've grown 300% since April 2009, it's not a point about us. It's actually a point about the success our partners are having, because our revenue comes from our partners. So we would like to see you guys, you here today, here at the webinar, join that group of partners who are having great success selling online backup to your customers. And that's what today's webinar is all about. I think I've covered the history of the company, so I'll just keep going. This slide's just emphasizing our focus as a company. So we are very much focused on small business users and the resellers and VARs who sell to small business. We do have solutions up in the enterprise space and down in the consumer space, and some of these other brands here on the screen you'd be familiar with in the space. The major brands in the space are certainly SOS, Mozy, Carbonite. Mozy and Carbonite have more of a consumer and mass market focus than we do, whereas we're channel focused and small business focused. So what are we about, and what's this webinar about? It's really about, this slide encapsulates it well. It's our partner solutions, about taking our technology and our storage platform and our global infrastructure, as represented on the left-hand side of this diagram, taking your logo, branding, business model, customer approach, layering that on top of our technology to then come up with a customized and bespoke online backup solution for you that makes sense in terms of how you go to market, how you sell to your customers, how you market to your customers, to drive ongoing, incremental, recurring revenue for your business. And we hope that that revenue is going to be very high margin. Most of our partners earn more than 60% margin selling online backup based on our technology. So it's a very high margin, recurring revenue stream. In terms of what our goal is, we'd love to see everybody who's at the webinar today end up looking like one of these pictures on the screen here. So becoming a fully white-labeled partner of SOS with an end-to-end online backup solution. We used to market as an online backup business in a box, everything associated with getting your company into the online backup market with its own customized product offering. We provide to you from the technology through to sales and marketing solutions, training, marketing materials, support. We're going to be talking a lot more about that in just a few minutes. So in terms of just addressing one of the big questions we often get is, why do you care? Why should I care, rather? And the answer to that is that there's a massive opportunity, a massive groundswell going on in the market and a huge shift to online backup underway. So putting it simply, if you're not selling online backup to your customers, somebody else is going to be. So why not you? That's really what it boils down to. We've got just a brief question here from Seth Shapiro. Thank you, Seth. About rebranding. Can SOS work directly with your designers? Yes, we absolutely can, Seth. We've got a team of graphic designers who can work with you to either we can do the design work for you to do the rebranding, or we can work with your designers. So turning to the industry and where the industry is at, this is a bit of a vexed question, frankly. There's not really good data out there, but we've got as good a view into the market as anybody does. And our analysis, and we've shared this with others in the space, and there's a consensus growing that the overall backup and DR industry is worth about $10 billion US annually, as split up between hardware, software, and services. And what we're seeing is a consolidation of backup and DR solutions to online backup. Online backup's kind of the last evolution in backup technology, in that it's straight software as a service. You deploy it, there's no hardware, there's no fuss, there's no services required, set and forget. So most industry pundits are saying that online backup stands to gain 70 or 80% market share of the overall backup industry. So that's a $7 or $8 billion market. Now, the market as it stands today is only $1 billion. So most of the growth is ahead of us, and that's borne out by the rampant growth curve we're seeing in particularly the small business space in online backup. Again, why do you care about all this? It's to answer the question we get a lot, which is, have I missed the boat? Am I too late to getting into the online backup market? And the answer is no. You can test that pretty quickly. If you go out among your customers and ask them how many of them are using online backup, it'll be a low percentage, perhaps 10, 20%. How many of them are evaluating online backup? 30, 40% would be typical of what's going on in the small business space in North America. So small business itself is absolutely the fastest growing market segment. And the biggest reason is that the incumbent the incumbent technology that had the greatest penetration into the small business space for the last 20 years has been tape-based backup solutions. So very centralized, lots of problems with tape backup technology we'll talk about in a second, but what we're seeing a massive fall-off in the use of tape, and online backup is more often than not displacing it. So there is some, backup to disk is certainly cannibalizing some of tape backup's market share, but online backup is by far the strongest competitive technology in terms of replacing those tape backup solutions, and it's happening at an ever greater rate of knots. So we're seeing, this forecast shows online backup going to 80% of the overall backup market. Even if it goes to 70 or 60%, there's still billions of dollars worth of opportunity in North America alone ahead of us in the coming 36 months. One of the big drivers for this is just the supply of digital data. So what we're seeing an increasing rate of data growth. So data's growing. It's not growing at a linear rate. It's exploding. It's starting to grow at an exponential rate. So we've seen 10 times growth of the amount of digital data that needs to be protected in the last 5 years, and we're likely to see that trend continue. Other growth drivers are just generally the cloud computing and SaaS megatrend that's been driving a lot of movements to cloud-based business applications, whether that's Salesforce.com or online backup. The proliferation of distributed data. So in the olden days, or a decade ago, most small business data sat in the central place. It was an easy target for something like a tape backup solution because it was all in one place. You could put your hand on it. These days, IBM estimates that up to 60% of corporate data actually sits on the edge of the network or in leaf nodes. So data has become very difficult to pin down and therefore have a comprehensive and robust disaster recovery plan associated with it. The beauty of online backup is because it's straight SaaS, you can deploy agents on every PC in the network, workstations, laptops, mobile devices, servers, and all of that data then gets captured and pushed to the cloud, because no matter where any given device is in the network, it's still under the cloud. So with that, let's turning more specifically to the traditional backup landscape. So a lot of the people on the line today will be selling the technologies we're talking about, principally centralized backup technology solutions, usually architected around tape, sometimes architected around disk. In terms of the market segments that our partners are serving, a pretty typical categorization into consumer, small business, and enterprise. We've got some partners who focus exclusively on selling into the consumer sector. We've got some partners who focus exclusively on selling into the enterprise sector. Most of our partners focus on selling to the small business sector, and they have some consumer accounts mingled in, and they've got some enterprise accounts mingled in. So focusing on that small business sector, the way backup solutions have typically been architected for small business is a three-part approach. There's been hardware, software, and then what we call labor, or internal IT staff time. Hardware was usually tape or disk. Software was often a tape-based backup solution, like, say, Backup Exec or Dance Retrospect. And then labor was either internal IT staff within a small business or often